Hello everyone. Welcome to another segment of Abalandeli Belanga. It's your host Unga Mlandeli Welanga. Unga omangazayo. Unga umfundisi welanga, umshumayeli welanga. Today I want to talk about Christmas. I'm going to share a bit of intimate stories of what Christmas was like growing up for me in a Christian home. So yeah, we are in that season. We are in that season of craziness and everything in between. Mariah Carey's jingle, "All I Want for Christmas," is going to be heard from every corner. Christmas decorations have already started going up. This morning, my children were actually asking, when are we doing our Christmas decoration? Which actually took me down memory lane. Growing up for me, Christmas was the time our family gathered. My granny had, when I was growing up, she had 4, if not 3 sisters. And they were very close to her. And so now, for me, Christmas always meant I'm going to see my cousins. I'm going to see the bigger family. The time was filled with sunny days, hot sunny days, late sunsets, rainstorms. Like now, it almost rained, but the wind just pushed it away. Rainstorms, they would clear just before sunset, giving us a chance to go to run outside and and play again. And sometimes it would dry up so quickly that it wouldn't even look like it had just rained. I remember the clouds. I remember the patterns. I remember chanting "Kuzalwi Imfene" when now the sun would shine forth from from the clouds. It would normally be around sunset. The Queen Judge Mother Mojaji showering us, Umnisi Wemvul, with the rains of, with the warm rains, with the warm summer rains. I remember the clouds, sun-kissed by the setting rays of the sun. I recall the aromas. Ikaya. The sweet smell of mangoes, nectarines, pastries, mince pies. My God, my gran loved mince pies. The choice assorted biscuits. December was just a sugar binge for me, of which my mom and my granny made sure that I was thoroughly purged in the castor oil before I go back to school. I remember on the days running up to Christmas, Unana, like clockwork, would call her sisters in the morning. My do, Mams, Kokomdala. Oh, how are we doing the Christmas? Where is it going to? How are we planning? Who's bringing what? Who's doing what? And I knew every time this talk started, I knew. Every time this talk started, I knew that we headed in the direction where I need to be on my best behavior. I need to be like spot on with my chores, you know. I need to be close to home. I can't wander off too far, because I understood that the next conversation would be Mbego ngiphelezele esedrobheni. And I knew what that meant. Because to me, this was let's go buy your Christmas toys. Let's go get your Christmas outfits. You know? So I'd be on my best behavior. Because I knew it's coming. I remember we would go to game stores. And as always, there'll be an old topi there dressed as Santa Claus, and there was this Indian guy there who used to sell samosas, fresh samosas. He used to sound the same every day, all day. I wonder who does it now. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, there was this old topi who'd dress up with Santa Claus. They used to have real beards back then, not like now. But yeah, of course, I remember I was scared of him at first, but eventually, over the years, I warmed up. I warmed up to him, and each and every year he would ask me, have you been a good boy? Did you get good grades? What grade are you going to next year? To which I'd naturally nod, so that I could get on with the activities. But I could never figure out why, as to he would never give me a present from the red sack that he used to have. I could never figure it out. In fact, I was convinced at some stage that the toys in the bag are better than the toys my mom and gran were getting me from the shop. For me, Christmas is it's all about it's that excitement. Sorry, it's about that excitement, the smell of starch on my Christmas clothes, the late nights sitting outside, laughter. Oh man, laughter from all angles. Laughter from all angles. And the food. Oh, the food. Actually, looking back, I actually realized that December, the picture of spring and summer being the promised land, I actually experienced it growing up. Because in each and every home, the food around the festive season. This was something I always looked forward to. A point of return I always looked forward to. Every year. Every year. Which was always cut short, of course, by the back to school. Yeah, that advert. That CNA, that back to school advert. As I grew older, things changed though. Things changed. My gran lost her sisters. Age started getting the better of her. Baze basala bebabili. My gran would try to keep up with the ritual, but as my uncles and my aunts married and worked far from home, the festive season changed. And actually, I don't even know whether it actually changed or I grew up. But now, as an adult looking back, I realize it is a ritual that I would like to keep for generations to come. That ritual, engayifunda kaGoba, it is something that I would like to keep, to teach to my children. What that time period represented, and how that time period was a glue to our family for the longest of time. And after hearing all manner of noise on the pagan, the holiday is pagan, it's a sun worship, it's devilish. Man, I'm not perturbed, hey? I'm so not perturbed. Everyone is telling us how we must not celebrate it as woke Africans, how we must do it like this or like that. It's not the date Jesus was born. It's sun worship, and they go on and on and on. But it is not removing me, or it's not moving my inner being. The inner urge to congregate with my loved ones and break bread, eat together, pray together, sing together, and create memories over the festive season. All the woke talk, and it is just not getting to me. Because as I'm highlighting, that the festive season, or that area became something else. It became a time for family outside of the birth of Christ, or sun worship, or whatever the dogma that the church was spewing at the time. It was just a time for us to come together and be merry. All the hibbity hoopla does not really take away that urge from me. And if you grew up like that, don't let all the noise guilt trip you or rob you from these memories, or creating these memories for your children, because these memories are a part of you. They are in your DNA. That memory, that happy place as a child. Actually, go buy yourself an outfit one of these days. Buy you your entire house. It doesn't have to be expensive, but just bring back those happy childhood moments. Recreate them for yourself through your children. Fill the space up with that energy. Don't deny your children the experience of Christmas. All of a sudden, because you woke, now your children can't go to Christmas parties, or your children can't partake in the festivities. Stop, guys. You need to stop, man. Use the time to reconnect with your family. We've been given a public holiday to do this. I mean, come on. You don't have to call it Christmas. You can call it Family Day. Just use the time to make sure the families know each other. Maybe even show the younger ones, the younger generations, where the graves of their ancestors, the graves bokhokho benu are. Nibaqhakazise. As the sun approaches its highest inclination, its highest point in the summer, niqhakazise okhokho benu. Recall their deeds, recall their names. Nikhulume ngabo. As the sun is in that elevated, high position, speak of their valor, laugh, cry, comfort each other with food and drink. And when you're nice and chaseip, forgive each other. Forgive each other. Endulo. This time would be used to honor the first or the early harvest. Umkhosi weWeshwama allegorized as Bikurim and Sukkoth in the Old Testament. In the New, it's dramatized as Pentecost, or the Feast of Weeks. The time when the Holy Ghost, or the gust of wind that descends upon the disciples. The gusts of winds that brings the rains and the thunderstorms. It's a celebration of the early harvest, of which our harvest, as with the downpours of rain, is broken in two. It's the early and the late. The early harvest is celebrated either just before or around the summer solstice. As you would find Gesintu, that is where Umkhosi Wokushwama has been placed. Where we've placed the ceremony of Amabutho, slaughtering the bull with their bare hands as the bull appears in our night sky in November. Sorry, from November into December, yes. That's how we keep it. In the Northern Hemisphere, we keep this between November and December. Now in the Northern Hemisphere, the feast is placed around May or June, counting 50 weeks or 7, the 50 weeks, or Sabbaths from Passover. I can't remember. I think it's 7 Sabbaths from Passover or something like that. And then of course, we on the polar opposite, our feast days are honoring the first rains, and the early harvest are kept between November and December. Yeah, I just said that. And the rain-making ceremony of the Queen Judge, Mujaji, Umujaji Wabalubedu, is held in late November. And then the next month, the month of the early rains, in late November, the month of the early rains. And then in December, we have Umkhosi Wohlanga. Sorry, I was losing my train of thought there. We have Umkhosi Wokushwama. Now, each and every animist No, let me rephrase that. Each and every animist or pagan ritual observed in the north is also observed in the south. And yes, even the biblical feasts are rooted in the animist cultures and observations. That is why we have Umkhosi Wokushwama. If you go out through Africa, you will find rituals aligned to the first harvest or the first rains, honoring and then deifying that principle in nature. It's nothing new. It is nothing new. Yes, biblical feasts are pinned, they are rooted in animist cultures, whom we call pagan, or whom you call pagan today. And really, the only thing pagan is our ignorance. That is the only thing pagan, our ignorance of the natural world. That is the only thing that is pagan. That's the only thing that is pagan. How do you worship in truth and in spirit if your feast days contradict nature? You will find Christians and Hebrew Israelites this extreme fundamentalism now, which has cropped up in South Africa, and I'm sure even the rest of the continent as well. You will find them keeping a spring ritual of Passover in autumn, in March. When we are going into winter, that is when they'll be keeping their Passover. When nature is withering, and so their reasoning withers also. Rather, let me put it like that. And then the opposite, they do it again. You'll find that when we go into spring in September, they are in sackcloth, they are in mourning. They are doing the Day of Atonement, when the sun is going from the hot summer days into the days of winter. Benza Madogodo, the Feast of Booths. In the newness of spring, the Feast of Booths, which we're saying we need to go back indoors now. It's going to get cold again. We need to get back into the tents. Totally the opposite. Totally the opposite. You celebrate summer in winter and you celebrate winter in summer. Where was I? Oh yeah, we're doing the opposite. Yet we say someone else is the anti-Christ, but we we are keeping anti-rituals. No wonder God says your feast days and your Sabbaths are an abomination to me, because they go against everything that is holy. They go against the grain. You cannot go through life swimming against the current. And so God says, it's an abomination. Which now brings me to the technicalities of Christmas. The technicalities of Christmas. And of course, I will say yes, Santa Claus is not real. Yay! Yes, Santa Claus is not real. I hope you're happy. He's not real, as with all the other characters in our folklore. And yes, including the Hebrew scriptures and the Christian folklore. They are all not real. What's good for the goose must be good for the... What is injaha, injaho. That's the principle. That is the principle. They are not real. Yes, the character is not real, but the lessons reified in the caricature, are very real. The lessons in the caricature are very real, and I'm going to explain them to you. Now, please remember that Christmas is based on Northern Hemisphere phenomenon, or it's a Northern Hemisphere holiday. So every year around December, the sun enters the constellation of the sea goat Capricorn, which is ruled by the planet Saturn, or Satan, or Set, Isita, as you'd have it in Zulu. This now marks the lowest point in the sun's yearly ecliptic, meaning the sun cannot go down any further than this. And it will do this for about 3.5 days, where it will be reborn from the cold pits of hell, or inferno. In the Northern Hemisphere, the 21st of December is the winter solstice, the lowest of the sun's ecliptic, the coldest, harshest part of winter. And then the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th, the sun is allegorically pronounced dead. 3 days in the tomb. Allegorically pronounced dead. He will no longer give of his heat anymore. The sun is said to be crucified in the Southern Cross constellation, pronounced dead for 3 days, 3 nights, and then rising or reborn on the 25th of December. The rebirth of the sun, the rebirth of Emmanuel, God with us. And the planet Saturn, or Satan, rules over this dark, unforgiving winter period. Supposedly the coldest. I'm sure Aquarius gets even colder, but it's allegorized that this is the coldest and the darkest part of winter. And symbolically speaking, again, they say that the powers of darkness have claimed victory over the Prince of Light. But lo and behold, the grave cannot hold him. The grave cannot hold him. And so on the 25th of December, the Prince of Light, God, the Prince of Light, Emmanuel, God with us, is born. And of course, in the Southern Hemisphere, because we are the pole opposite, we experience this. The pole opposite on the 25th of June. But now, for us in the Southern Hemisphere, our sun is at its 12 o'clock position, 12 o'clock noon position. Every eye shall see him. Our sun is crucified on the 21st of June, the winter solstice, and then pronounced dead the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th, and then on the 25th, that's our Christmas in the Southern Hemisphere. That would be the first technicality that I want to put to you. The 25th of June. And as we have learned so far, kubalandeli belanga, ilanga is not merely an incandescent orb. No. Ilanga is the seed of life on our planet. All things were made by him, and without him was nothing made. That is what Ilanga is for us, for our planet. That is the power Ilanga has been given over our planet. All things are made by him, and nothing is made without him. Every aspect of nature around us is supported by this conscious, intelligent beacon of pulsating light. Pulsating life to our planet, the same way the human heart pulses. Yet the exact location of the source of the pulse, it remains a mystery. The sun is the seed that germinates all life in our universe, in our side of the galaxy. The creator of the seed, the sun is the seed. The creator of the seed is the source of the pulse. And that is, of course, Itongo, or the ether, or the Father, or the unapproachable cause. I and the Father are one. The seed is the soul of the inner and the outer universe. That's what it is. It's not just it's not just a ball of burning. What is it? Burning? Is burning helium, as they put it. No, it's so much more than that. Oh, excuse me. It's so much more than that. And now to explain to you why Santa actually wears red, that blood red, that crimson red outfit. And what the name Christmas actually symbolizes. So now in astrology terms, you have what is called exaltation. And so now what happens in over the course of December, if you're in the north, you go through what they call the exaltation of the red planet Mars, Unochezi, or the Lord of War in the Bible. The crossing of Mars, or Chris Mars, or cross Mars. Mars crossing in the constellation of Capricorn, the sea goat. In astrology, when a planet is in exaltation, we say it is said to be in strength, it's king, it's in mastership, bestowing good virtues or gifts of the spirit. In this case, willpower, strength, courage, discipline, and endurance. Virtues which are most needed during the dark months of winter. Winter in the northern hemispheres, guys, there's places where it really gets bad. Of which the exaltation of Mars now is happening under the constellation represented by the enduring goat, Capricorn. Goats are enduring animals. Very few habitats can outwit goats. They're strong. That's why ngesisu kuthiwa if monesisu esingahanjiswa ubala kuthiwa unesisi sembuzi. Because they're just the tough. They are the expression of ruggedness. And so now Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. Hence the title Santa. Saturn, Santa. Also the word behind Saturday or Saturn Day. Now the Bible makes mention of a holy mountain in the north, the kingdom in the north, where we are told God's throne God's throne is always being depicted as in the north, of which in the Nordic folklores and traditions it's the North Pole. The North Pole, from where Santa Claus, the North Pole from where Santa Claus descends from. Now, according to the mystic arts of the East and the esoteric teachings of Christianity, every month there is a Christ oil or a chrism, the elixir of life, or the seed. We shall continue calling it the seed. The inner sun, which is born in the manger. The manger in the body is the solar plexus, the area around the tummy, or the bread basket. Bethlehem, the house of bread, or the house of uNomkhubulwane, the house of harvest. Now, the ancients teach that this fluid the fluid materializes in Bethlehem, but its genesis is in the higher planes of Itong or the Ether, the higher planes of awareness. The ancients believed that this material or mana or elixir of life was capable of renewing and rejuvenating the body's cells 1,000-fold. Each and every month, in accordance with the verse, anybody in Christ is a new being. So now the teaching goes, this fluid, which enters the skull through the North Pole. The North Pole is your head, your feet are your South Pole. Christ, that's the North, the South Pole, that's the Antichrist or the pole opposite. So now the teaching goes, this Christ fluid or this Christ consciousness enters through the skull at the North Pole, your heaved up place, or heaven, heaved up, the seat of awareness. And then we are further told that this immaterial substance first crystallizes or takes form in the Santa Claus or the claustrum in the north. The claustrum, which is part of the cortex located between the cherubim or the cerebrum. It's the same word. It's located between the cerebrum or between the two cherubim covering the mercy seat, covering the holy of holies. And of course, the Holy of Holies, or the claustrum, is surrounded by white brain matter, the snow at the North Pole. Again, this whiteness is alluded to in the description of the Most High in the Bible, where it says, his hair is white as snow, of which Asa as well. Asa is also portrayed clad in white, cladded in white rather. So now, next to the claustrum is the external and the extreme capsule, which resembles Santa's sleigh. You know the sleigh with the reindeers? Santa's sleigh pulled by 8 or 9 reindeer. It is, yes, it's reindeers, representing the 9 steps of the Sephirot, the Hebrew version of the Tree of Life, the Hebrew version of the Kemetic Tree of Life. Uhlanga lezizwe ngesintu, umthimkhulu, usimakade, or the Christmas tree in the Nordic traditions. The same thing. It means the same thing. That Hollywood, the Hollywood that is said to be, they chop it up, they put it up, it represents usimakade, the tree of life, the pine tree. And the pine cone represents the pineal gland. It also represents Jacob's stairway to heaven. The stairway to heaven he saw where? At Peniel, at the pineal. These 9 steps symbolize the spiritual journey of ascension, mirrored by the sun's ascension from the winter solstice to the summer, from a position of weakness to a position of strength. When the sun enters spring Aries, he enters Aries as the meek lamb. But when he enters Jerusalem, the high Jerusalem, the city of light, the summer solstice, he is the Lion of Judah. He is the conquering Lion of Judah, which ripens the harvest. And so yes, these 9 steps represent the ascension journey. A journey each and every one of us takes each year with the sun. In some Christian sects, ZCC, it's the journey to Moriah. That 80-kilometer pilgrimage from Ebosh, I always get this wrong, from Ebohleni to Ntlangakazi. It is that pilgrimage. And of course, the star on top of Usimakade, or the Christmas tree, the star atop of the Christmas tree represents the epitome of that journey, or even deeper, or in an even deeper sense, the halo. You know the halo around saints? Umqhele. The halo on the deities of old, symbolizing the light that encompasses an activated pineal gland. As with the ring around Saturn, they say that is how an activated pineal gland looks like. Now, when the claustrum now is viewed laterally, sorry, when viewed laterally, the claustrum is located, yes, let me put it like that rather. When viewed laterally, the claustrum is located below the insular cortex, or the island of Rael, where Santa's home is, with the elves and that island of Rael in the North Pole, which is also lateral to the putamen, or the putamen, borrowed from the Latin putare, meaning to consider, to think. Ukucaba, amathambo engqondo, symbolized by Santa's red cap. You know that red cap that is worn by Santa with the little ball here at the end? Yeah. In fact, the putamen, if you think about it, kind of looks like yes, it takes the shape of Santa's head, and then it comes down like that to the amygdaloid. Yeah, and then then you have the ball there of the amygdaloid, as the snowball at the end of that hat. So Santa symbolically enters now. This is taking long. So Santa symbolically enters the house or the head through the chimney, the sator of the skull. In the traditions of the East again, the chimney is referred to as the doorway of Brahma, of which is a play on the word Abraham, with just the vowels interchanged. The door of Brahma, and the internal chimney being represented as the spinal cord, or is symbolized in Kemetic spirituality, the jet pillar of Asar, or the jet pillar of Osiris, Owesilisa, or the Jordan River in the Bible. Uhlanga lezizwe ngesintu, like I've said, impande yasendulo, usimakade. And the journey up, usimakade, the journey up the Christmas tree, represents the inward ascension process of man. The journey back to the immaterial cause, Itong, or the journey back to the stillness, ikhaya lokukhanya, ikhaya labangcwele. Ngiqonda indlela enyukayo, ngikhwela zonke izinsuku, nginguye okhulekayo, Nkosi ngimise phezulu, Nkosi ngisimamiseke, emhlabeni holidundu. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Crossing the blood barrier or the Red Sea, walking up the 33 vertebrates, or the 33 degrees of Freemasonry. Lord, place my feet on higher ground. And the summer solstice, the 21st of December, the festive season, the days leading to and the days after that, they represent that higher ground, the time when we honor and give thanks for the early harvest, the time we gather to celebrate, the time we meet distant relatives and recall the days of old, recall how faithful the Lord has been, and bask in the sunlight of His love. So I want to say to you guys today, we need to let go, guys. We need to be children again. The kingdom of heaven belongs to who? Belongs to the children. Be a child again. Rekindle that spirit of Christmas. You can call it Family Day. You can call it whatever you like. Call it Kwanzaa if you want. Just bring back that spirit of love, the spirit of joy, that spirit of togetherness. Let the love for all men prevail over the spirit of hatred and bitterness. There's, it's pagan. It's like, calm down. Calm your monkey ass down and sit down and let people be. Learn to live and let live. The only thing pagan, the only thing evil is how ignorant we are of each other's ways of lives and cultural beliefs. That's the only ignorance here, see. And so as a South African who was raised Christian, that is how I'm going to celebrate the time period. In December, that is what the time period is. That is what I've always known it to be. Man, no one gave a damn back in the day what propaganda the church was peddling. We would go to church, come back from church. We Christmas. We get together. We merry make. And that's what the time is about. The ritual of breaking bread together. Communities that cannot sit independent of religious views or cultural views, Communities that cannot sit down together and break bread together cannot stand as one. So yeah, that's how I'll be spending Christmas this year. So yeah guys, thanks for listening, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.